All right. Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Justin Deering. I am supporting this year's virtual forum. I'm joined with my colleague Jeff Kupiak, who is supporting our forum speakers. Today, we will be taking you into the speaker producer portal for virtual forum. I'm going to give a demo and go over speaker responsibilities. Should take about 5 minutes. Speakers don't have too much to do. And then I'll go into our producer responsibilities and kind of when you're in person at forum, what you need to do. And then we'll open it up for questions. Hopefully I have about 10 minutes for that. Again, I will be sharing the recording along with a job aid for the speakers and producers. This will include the portal login link and any other information shown in today's meeting to help you out. And that'll either go out later today or early tomorrow morning. All right, so let me go ahead and minimize this. So this is the landing page for this year's forum speaker and producer portal. To log in, your credentials will be your NIGP email that we have on file. And I'm going to go ahead and use mine, log in. The password is going to be forum 2024 for everybody. I'm special, so I don't need a password. All right, so and this is for speakers right now. I'm going to go into producer responsibilities here after. As a speaker, when you log in, you want to make sure you verify your sessions. Some of this stuff I think is mostly like it's concrete, it's not going to change, but I believe that the session schedule is not like 100%, it's about like 99%. So just make sure you verify your sessions, your time. You can actually click on the session here and see some further details. You'll notice this pre-record for virtual session. This is not being used this year. We're not pre-recording any of our sessions. This would mainly be used for some sort of emergency situation if somebody was like sick last minute or couldn't do their session. So at the top here, you have your different tabs. Documents, this is where you'll go to upload any documents. We actually don't want you to do this, speakers. All of your documents should be going to Jeff. He will post his email in the chat. We'll also include that in the post email that we send out. All of your documents, your presentation slide deck, and any other resources for your session, along with any polls, will go to Jeff. I'll get into polls here in a second. If you would like, you do and can upload and build your polls in the system. But if you would rather Jeff do that or myself, just send them to Jeff and we'll work that out. Q&A, the Q&A chat and chat Q&A is mostly going to be our producers will be managing these three things. However, last year we didn't do such a great job of communicating this to presenters. So this year, any questions that come in from the virtual audience, you should be prompting your producer that's in the room. All of the sessions will have an NIGP producer. So they'll be monitoring the chat, the Q&A, and they will also be publishing and launching your polls. So it's recommended to check in with them when you're kind of fielding questions from the in-person, kind of mix it up between in-person and virtual, and the producer will voice those questions to you. For speakers, what we'd like you to do is check in with the producer after your session for any virtual questions that did not get asked or addressed. So after your session, just, talk to your producer. You can sit down at the table with them and you can type answers out. Chat, again, producers are going to be monitoring this and responding to any chat. This is essentially a dashboard. I'll get more into this when I go over the producer's responsibilities. And then you'll see live poll. So I've set up 2 polls here. And I can build one as to show you how this works. It's fairly intuitive. If you have any polls for your session. It's recommended to build that poll as a slide in your presentation deck. This will kind of give the green light to your producer to launch the poll for your virtual audience. Your in-person can also take part in the poll using the this year's forum app. The producers will be sitting next to the AV table, and those last year we were not able to share the results unless you were on the app in person or you were virtual. This year we're actually going to be plugged into the AV, and those graphics and responses will show up on the screen for all of the in-person to see. So you don't necessarily need to have your app open. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a new question here. So you'll add your question. There's two different types, single and multi-choice. And we'll go with single for this one. You'll add your options. You can add as many options as you like. And then you have the option as of selecting a pie chart or a bar graph. We're going to go with bar graph. And then we're going to hit save or add. So this is what your poll questions will look like. It's probably recommended to put like poll 1 or poll 2, poll 3. Or you can make the adjustments here. You can delete them here. And obviously you have the order to make it a little bit easier for your producer. But again, if you need help with this, just send your polls to Jeff and we will build them for you. So Stacy, great question. If results are going to go on the screen, does the slide need to be a blank one or will it show over the top of our presentation? So yeah, the AV team will know to cut to the actual, it opens a separate browser window which shows the graphic. They will know then to show that graphic on the screen. They'll leave it up while results are being brought in and collected, and then we'll publish the results. And I'll show this when I go to the producers because they'll be the ones launching. Well, you know who the producer is in advance, Sean? Yes, we will be notifying once that's set. Again, it's probably like 95% set. So we will be sending out who will be a producer in your session. All right, and so that's mostly everything for the speakers. The last thing I'd like to add is under your profile. So after you've verified your session, it's good to go to your profile. We'd like you to add a headshot. And so you'll just choose file and let's do this. You're able to crop, zoom in and out as you'd like, however you like this to show. And then you just hit save and it'll upload your headshot. Any of the fields that are already populated, they're pulling from our database. So if anything is incorrect, please send any edits to Jeff and he can make those changes in our database so that it syncs over from there. Anything that is blank that you would like added, social media, I think for the most part, most of this stuff will be populated except for like social media, website. But for the most part, if you have a middle name, it'll show your first, last, title, email, phone, your bio should be showing, but if it's not up to date, please send that to Jeff and we will get that updated for you. All right. So now I'm going to make sure I covered everything for speakers. Looks like I did. Okay, so now I'm going to go into producer responsibilities. So my producers, NIGP staff, sometime before forum, I know that we're actually still making adjustments. I actually just made a number of them yesterday. Carrie had to make some adjustments to who was producing which sessions. So I wouldn't necessarily go in right away to verify your sessions. Probably wait another week or two and those will probably be pretty much 100%. I would go in and verify the sessions that you are producing. And then when you are at forum, you will log into the console just like the speakers would. And you would locate your session. Well, let me rewind. So when you're at forum, you'll want to know your schedule, obviously. You want to know which sessions that you are producing. So you want to make sure that you're in the room or as early as you can, and at least 15 minutes early. So when you enter the room, you want to make sure you make contact with your speaker. There'll be a quality control team member or members in the room and the AV team. You want to make them that you're aware that you're the producer assigned to manage the virtual chat, Q&A, and polls. You will also want to make sure that you're seated in a location to where Crescent, our audio video team, will be able to plug into your laptop so that they're able to share those slides. So once you're seated, you'll log into the portal if you aren't already logged in, and you'll click on the session. So let's make believe that you are attending this session. So you'll click on it, and again, you can view any of these that you'd like. It's recommended. This is actually a new feature this year, this chat and Q&A. It's a dashboard that gives you the total number of attendees that are in attending virtually. You also have your chat, and then you have your questions. So chat, obviously there'll be comments coming in, but you will also be responding to any technical support issues as far as like can't hear, can't view the video. And we will have our own internal Teams channel open for these support issues so that I can address them as quickly as I can with Bravura. You will also be obviously managing the Q&A. So speakers will be prompting you when it's time to take questions. You have an open questions. These are all questions that come in. You have published questions, and then you have all questions. So I'm going to open up this graphic here because I don't actually have any questions that have come in because I can't really show them, but I've got some screenshots here from Bravura of what it will look like. So again, open questions, this is what an open question would look like. These are all questions that come in. You have the ability to click answer or publish. I can't see a reason why we would publish a question and just stick it out there with no response or anything. So we won't be using this feature, this option. If you think it's a good question and you want to voice it to the speaker, you'll click answer, and then you can click answer live here, this checkbox, and then submit. This will publish the question, or you can type in an answer here. So it could potentially be a support technical question that's more related to the producer and not the speaker. But for the most part, these are going to be likely questions about the session that the speaker will have to answer. So again, if we don't have time to take the question, the speaker can always come in after the fact and type in answers here. All right, let me see. All right, now let me get into polls. So when you come upon a poll in a slide that has come up on the screen, or possibly the speaker is prompting, we're going to go to our first poll or second poll. You'll want to quickly toggle to the live poll tab and then click on, let's just hypothetically say it's the first poll. You'll click on this poll. You're going to want to click view question. And again, this is all going to be in the job aid that I provide you guys. So you don't necessarily have to remember it. You can review it kind of right before forum. A separate browser window will open with the poll question. And so it kind of looks like it's live, but it's not. So you want to make sure you hit publish question. This is going to make it live to the virtual audience and in the app if the in-person is using the app. So we're going to publish question. You're actually going to see this question is live now. You'll see the number of responses grow. And then once you feel like it's slowed down, I would say 30 to 45 seconds for a poll question, depending on the length of the question and the number of responses. You'll want to publish the results. And once you publish the results, you'll get that bar graph. You can toggle to a pie chart if you like, but usually it's whatever you set it to in the beginning when you create the poll. So you'll have the bar graph, a nice visual of what the responses are. We'll leave this up. Typically, the speaker will speak on it for a minute or two, and then when you feel like they've kind of stopped talking about it, we'll unpublish the result, and then go ahead and close your window. Now, once you've closed the poll out, you'll want to hit the back button to take you back to the live poll, and then you'll likely go back to chat and Q&A and kind of see what has come in since the poll. All right, so that's pretty much all I have for producers. So let me check chat here. Yes, Polly, we are recording. I will send out the recording with job aids so that you can view it if you've missed anything here. Perfect, Jeff. So in person, we'll participate in the poll using the app. Yep. Thanks, Stacy. Yes, Belinda, the polls will be preloaded prior to the producers start or prior to the session starting. So those should all be loaded a few weeks before forum. And Jeff and I will kind of manage the polls. Like the producers don't really have to manage any of the content being loaded or resources being loaded. Well, that's a good point, Stacy. If you wanted to publish the question just to get a weigh-in of response, yeah, that'd be great. That's a great question, Belinda. I think that should be added probably to the QCT script. The opening QCT usually opens the sessions. So yes, I'll get with Carrie to see if that is included in their script. Yeah, so good question, Todd. Yeah, the chat will come in over here and questions over in here. And let me see if there's yeah, so this is kind of what chat looks like. It's not as robust as Zoom. So there isn't a respond to that person directly. So typically you do at and then whatever that person's name is, which would be Bravura support. If anything inappropriate comes through, you are able to delete it. But it's a pretty basic chat. Will the presentation we use during our session be the ones preloaded on the portal or directly from our laptops? Carolina, pretty much both. So whatever you're using to present, that deck should be the same one that's uploaded in the portal. And so again, final decks are due to Jeff on July 16th. So any resources, your presentation decks, polls, everything July 16th. We're trying to get those in and reviewed so we have no issues. And Jeff, can you confirm the date? Is it the 19th or the 16th?
16th.
Perfect. Yeah, another good question, Todd. As producer, you want to make sure that you have a mic. So QCT will be running mics for questions. Again, the virtual audience will not be able to hear anything unless you have a mic in front of you. So yeah, so if you have a question, it's probably good to raise your hand. So QCT sees you so they can get a mic to you to ask that question live. If for some reason you can't get a mic and you voice it to the speakers, if you can just reiterate the question, since you will have a mic essentially, or you could even pass, if you have actually, I don't think we're using mics for the floating mics for the speakers. So QCT will have the floating mics. So if they don't have a mic in front of you and they voice the question, just feel free to reiterate it. Yeah, and Todd, I don't like to interject with presentations, so that's why I always ask the speaker if they're ready to take questions and field them. I myself like to just be prompted. So, ask me if we have any questions. If I'm the producer in your room, you know, do we have any virtual questions? And then, that the producer can just voice that. Or, they can go to the room and really kind of mix it up because we really want to feel like the virtual audience is like, in the room, so to speak. Sorry, Koana, if you want to come off mute.
Yes. Hi, Justin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around the overall formatting. I'm a first-time presenter. I'm going to be co-presenting with Yolanda Broom out of City of Atlanta. So the portal, this is mainly for the virtual audience. Did I understand that correctly?
Correct.
Okay. So and I believe you have explained it, but again, I'm just, trying to make sure I'm understanding correctly. How will we tie this in at the time of us presenting? Like will it be like flowing organically? I don't know because I think I had one idea of how this was going to look, but now that there's a portal involved, it's kind of, throwing me off my kilter a little bit.
Yeah, so essentially you'll just come in here, you're going to verify your profile and your sessions.
Uh-huh.
And then the only other time that you would be in here is to respond to those questions that we didn't get to, that the virtual audience asked.
Okay.
So mainly the producers are going to be in here managing the chat and Q&A. So they'll be in your room when you're presenting in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll just kind of prompt them for any virtual questions that come in through when you're presenting, when you're ready to take questions.
Okay. Okay. I understand. And initially as we were building our PowerPoint deck, we were looking at external resources for the live poll. But am I understanding that that's not necessary because what we were looking at is a software or a site where the audience could scan a QR code, they would enter their answers, and then we could go in to display their answers after that polling period.
Okay. Jeff, do you have any thoughts about that? If presenters want to use an outside,
Yeah, it's not a requirement. That's just in our creative process, in our drafting process of our presentation. That's where we were, that's what we came up with our brainstorming. However, if NIGP already has this software or this portal where we can have polls, I guess what I'm asking is would it be safe for us to nix that idea and just use the poll in the portal? Because
yeah,
we
it's probably recommended to use the poll in the portal. I know another person in chat just asked kind of a similar question using Slido. Uh,
uh-huh.
but Jeff, do you have any thoughts or concerns about somebody or presenters using like a QR code for outside polling?
I know we had explored this, and I think one of the reasons we did not suggest it was the limitation, a limitation of the number of responses you can take with some of the free applications.
Mhm.
You would need to pay some money to allow a full group of, you know, a couple hundred people, few hundred people possibly to respond.
Okay, yeah, yeah, because we were looking at the VLOX site, and I know on the free, when you have a free subscription, if you will, the limit is 150 responses. We were actually looking at possibly subscribing just because we went to a few presentations where we saw polls being answered, but it populated like a word cloud, and we kind of liked that feature, and we kind of feel like that would make it more of an interactive thing because we could see people's free-handed answers or responses to our questions versus, you know, 3 or 4 preloaded answers that they have to choose from.
This is Erica. I wonder if I could chime in. So I also had the question. So we have a subscription to Slido. We use this often in presentations like this, and I would agree with Kawana that it really is nice because we had planned already. It's already built into our presentation to use word clouds and different ways to engage. It's very easy for
Right.
users. I completely understand and appreciate if you don't already have a subscription that there can be a financial investment, and I appreciate NIGP answering that with providing a tool like this. But I'd like to understand if that was already in our plan. I'd prefer not to rework our entire presentation if this can be an option.
My gut reaction is that it's okay. I would hesitate for anyone else to start jumping into different options that are out there because it could confuse the audience if they are having to leave this platform or use different apps, if it causes them to download an app or receive text messages, things that they might not be comfortable with. So the more outside companies we use, it could just, I don't want to say upset people, but leaning toward that
No, Jeff,
direction.
Yeah,
Jeff, I
understood.
understand. Yeah, I understand your concern with that, Jeff. So I actually tested it out. With so I haven't I saw Slido. I haven't looked into that one, but we were looking at Vivox, I believe is how you pronounce it. And it's a QR code. It takes you directly to the polling site. It doesn't require them to log in or subscribe to anything or download anything. So that's one of the reasons why we were going for that option as well. My only concern with that is there, like, let's say if we are using that external resource, would there be a way for our producers to know, okay, toggle away from the presentation to the VVOX site or the Slido deck or however the case is, to display our results? Like I'm just a little concerned about just how smoothly that transition could be, or would I be controlling the laptop? Like I don't know.
I don't have that answer. Justin, do you have
Yeah,
any?
Erica, let us go back and talk it over with Chanda and Carrie and um see see what we can do and come up with.
Okay, I'll send you over ours because it's done, and you can kind of put it in presentation mode and look at it and see how you feel it works. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, and we'll do the same.
Thanks, Kawana.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're right at 3:30. So if anybody has any other questions, place those in chat real quick, or you can come off mute. Again, Jeff and I are here to help all the way up until forum, during forum, after forum. So feel free to email us. Again, our emails will be in the post email that'll go out later today or tomorrow. I'll include the recording, any job aids, important dates, any other resources in that email as well.
I did have one other question, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
It's related to the microphones. So I believe I heard you say that there will not be any floating microphones during the Q&A session.
Well, there will be floating microphones, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the majority of presenters will be using like a headset type.
Okay. Yeah, I remember us discussing that during one of our training sessions with the headset and, the limitations around that. So I just kind of wanted to see if there was any news or developments or clarity within how the microphones are going to be organized.
The AV company has enough headsets for there to be one per room per session happening. So whoever is the main speaker, and if you have two, you just have to rock, paper, scissors it out. Whoever's speaking the most will have the headset on, and just so the virtual audience gets the best experience. And then the rest of the microphones are your choice of the lavalier or handheld mics. For the participants that are sitting down, there will be someone running around with a handheld mic to hand it to them so they can ask their question and the virtual audience can hear.
Okay, I appreciate that. And so let me ask you this. Is there an option, because I'm a part of a two-person presentation, is there an option for one person to have the headset and one person to have the handheld? Because let's say if we're
Yes.
bouncing between the two of you, we're kind of presenting in a conversational type of format.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay, great.
Yeah. There will be multiple handheld mics in the room. So your co-presenter can have one, and then there will be one for participants to ask questions with.
Okay, okay, got you. All right, thank you so much, Chef.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. And again, look out for that email with the recording link, job aids, any other resources, and other important dates.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks, guys. See you.